Hello, so we'd like to look at some practice questions from AP Calculus AB. Alright, let's look at these questions together. So first one is we need to get the antiderivative of this given expression. So how are we going to do this one? Yes, we have to use the idea of inverse chain rule, reverse chain rule, or we can simply use the u substitution. So let's have u as the 3x. Then we get to realize that du will be equal to 3 dx. Now, then here we only have dx, so what we can do is we can divide by 3, then you will realize that in place of dx we can put du over 3. So this now becomes cosine of u and du, but a division of 3, I'm going to put that as 1/3 in the beginning. So 1/3, what's the antiderivative of cosine? Yes, it would be simply sine. And then plus c. Then here we have 1/3 sine of u was the 3x, plus c. That becomes our answer. So therefore choice C. Alright, let's look at the second one. Here we have, as x approaches 0, if you have to plug in 0 in place of x's, you will realize that numerator and denominator will be equal to 0, so we cannot determine what the value would have been. So what can we do? Yes, we can in fact divide by x cubed on both sides, then we'll end up getting 2x to the third plus 6. Now 4x squared plus 3. As x approaches 0, now if you have to plug in zeros, then we'll end up getting simply 6 over 3, because these two expressions will approach 0. Therefore our answer will be equal to 2, which is choice number D. Okay, so we have a piecewise function given in this way. Now the fact that they have to be continuous, what does that mean? That means we just have to plug in 2 in both parts of the equation, which is the division in piecewise functions, and the value has to be equal to each other. Then here we have, for the upper value, we have 2 squared minus 3 times 2 plus 9. Bottom becomes 2, k times 2 plus 1. You see this idea, we're just going to finish this one for now first, and then we'll talk about the idea behind it right after. Then here the upper portion becomes 4 minus 6 becomes negative 2, and end up being 7 has to be equal to 2k plus 1. Then obviously here k will become 3. So we know that 3 becomes our answer. You see, the continuity is when the limit of the function as the function approaches a, that has to be equal to the value of the function itself. Now in order for the limit to exist, left and right side limit will be used by these two expressions. They have to be equal to each other, and f of a, in fact f of 2, will be simply the value that comes from this expression by plugging in 2. So that's why all we have to do is simply plug in 2 to the expression and we'll get our answer. Number 4, so we have to take the derivative. If I had to rewrite down f, it would have been something like this: cosine of 4x, entire thing to the third power. Then what is the derivative? By the power rule, 3 comes out, and we have cosine of 4x squared, and then by the chain rule, derivative of cosine becomes negative sine, and then we have to put down the same value, 4x. Now the innermost, if you take the derivative of 4x, it would have been equal to 4. So therefore, if you combine everything together, we'll end up getting negative 12. And then cosine squared of 4x times sine of 4x. Now, then which one of these are our answers? It looks like choice B. Alright, let's look at number 5. Has relative minimum. How do you know when this one has relative minimum? First, we have to try to see the derivative. What is the derivative of f? We get 6x squared minus 6x minus 12. Now, this one has to be equal to 0. That means you get to realize that by dividing by 6, we get to have x squared minus x minus 2 has to equal to 0. Good thing that this is actually factorable, so we have x minus 2 and x plus 1 has to be equal to 0. That means x has to be either equal to 2 or negative 1. Now, I have no idea which one will be relative minimum. So we have negative 1 here and positive 2. Now, the values, because the derivative is the quadratic, with the leading coefficient is positive, that means what's going to be happening is, imagine this one were to be the x-axis. The graph would have been something like this. In other words, the leftmost portion has to be positive, the middle is negative under the x-axis, imaginary x-axis. Now, right side has to be positive, so therefore positive, negative, positive. Minimum means we have to go from negative to positive, so this becomes our relative minimum, which is choice C. Alright, number 6. Let f be the function given in that way. And then line tangent. So whenever we're looking at line tangent, we need 3 pieces of information: the slope, x value, and y value. In fact, we know the x value, which is equal to 1. Can we find out the y value? Yes, because once you plug in 1 in this place, we get this portion is equal to 1. So we end up getting 2. Now, how about this m, which is the derivative? What is the derivative of this? Now, once you put down the values, f prime of x, we have to use the product rule here. So first I'm going to take the derivative of the left side, which is 5, 2x minus 1 to the 4th power times 2, derivative of inside, times x plus 1. Now, plus the left side, which is 2x minus 1 to the 5th power, and derivative of the right side, which is simply 1. Now, but once you plug in 1 in place of x, this portion becomes 5 times 2 times 2, which is equal to 20. Here, once you plug in 1, we end up getting 1. So our slope becomes 21, which is 21, but we have to get 2 as the y value. That's only possible with choice B. Alright, let's look at number 7. How do you integrate this one? In fact, we realized that if you set u as square root of x, things will come out, because du is equal to 1 over x. Oops, not 1 over x, 1 over 2. And then square root of x. That's basically what we end up getting, dx. Notice we have dx and then 1 over square root of x. We just don't have 2. That means 2 du is equal to dx over square root of x. So by plugging these things into that, we'll end up getting 2 and e to the u du. Now then integration of that becomes 2 times e to the u plus c. Since u was a square root of x, we'll end up having 2 times e to the square root of x plus c. That becomes our final answer, which is choice A. Alright, let's look at number 8 here for a second. The function f is continuous on the closed interval that's given, has a value. Okay, now trapezoidal approximation from 0 to 6 found with 3 subintervals. So that means this will be the first interval, second, and third is equal to 52. What is the value of k? Now then what we have to do is simply actually calculate that. So here we have area will be 0 to 6 f of x dx can be now approximated by the first trapezoid, which will be 4 plus k times the height, which is the difference, which is 2, divided by 2, plus second k plus 8 times the height will be still 2, divided by 2. Now the next will be 8 plus 12 times the height is equal to 2 divided by 2. So therefore we end up having 4 plus k plus 8 plus 8 plus 12 has to be equal to 52. How do we get that? We have 2k, and then we have plus 32 is equal to 52. Then what do you realize about k? 2k must be equal to 20, and k must be equal to 10. That becomes our answer, which is choice D. Alright, let's look at number 9. A particle moves along x-axis so that at any time t greater than 0, its velocity is given this way. Now, if the particle is at position x equals 7 when t time is equal to 1, what is the position when particle is equal to t is equal to 2? So this, in fact, position to the velocity is given this way. Integral of the velocity is the position. Well, from where to where? When t is equal to 1 to 2. That means we're going to get x, which is the integration of the velocity. X of 1, actually, x of 2 minus x of 1. That's basically what we end up getting. Now here, let's look at it. Then this becomes 1 to 2, 4 minus 6, 6t squared dt. And what is that equal to? 4x minus 2 t cubed. We have to put this one into the t. Now, which goes from 1 through 2. Once you plug in 2, you'll realize that that's equal to 8 minus 16 minus, if you have to plug in 1, then it's going to be 4 minus 2. Then here we have, this is 2 minus 2, which is equal to 0. Then what is x of 2? X of 2 was, in fact, it was equal to 7. So if I have to rewrite this one, then the equation could have been 0 equals x sub of 2, which we are looking for, and then minus 7. So therefore, x of 2 must be equal to 77. Oops. X of 2 must be equal to 7, therefore. Now, I guess we made a small mistake here. Let's try to find the mistake quickly. Alright, a small mistake was, I thought this was 18, but this was simply 8. 8 minus 16, so this becomes negative 8. And here it becomes minus 2, which is equal to negative 10. In fact, it should have been negative 10 over here. Sorry about that. Then, once you add 7 to both sides, here we have x of 2 then must be equal to negative 3. That is our final answer over here. Alright, let's go for number 10. So we have given expression in this way. The figure above shows the portion of the graph which of the following could be the values of the constant a comma b, a and b. So in fact, the fact that we have vertical asymptote is 2. Vertical asymptote deals with the denominator. In other words, once you plug in 2, this one should be equal to 0. So 2 squared plus b has to be equal to 0. Then b must be equal to negative 4. So I'm looking at the things that has b equals negative 4. In fact, that's the only possibility for that one will be choice D. But just for the argument's sake, let us try to figure out a also. The fact that horizontal asymptote is when limit as x approaches positive infinity. In this case, that's how it was. And then a x squared plus 12 over x squared minus 4. Now we know that portion. So then in this case, this will be basically dependent upon a over 1 due to the same exponents here. But that has to be equal to 3. That means a has to be equal to 3, which is choice D. Okay, we'll continue with part 2. Alright, have a nice day. I'll see you later.